Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the Engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Arts Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.
Hey, I'm KC.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Greg.
And you're listening to
The Element Podcast.
Once there was an artist named Cafe Anderson.
No.
That's not me. But I am pretty coffee right now.
Played a show with that guy. He was not very nice to me.
Did you really?
Yep.
I didn't know if I ever realized that.
Yeah.
He was just a cover artist. That was why. He was jealous of your songwriting ability.
Maybe that's it.
I'm here on the podcast with 2 singer-songwriters.
Golly, dude.
How blessed am I, dude?
Actually, I think all 3 of us are. I've heard you sing some pretty good and write some pretty good lines.
I can spit them sometimes.
I'm actually editing the Nebraska buck truck footage right now, and there's a line in it that you make up.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is
it's
it good?
pretty good song about a buck, dead buck. Yeah.
Dead buck in the middle of the road. I don't think I made that one up.
Copyright infringement there.
Tyler Jones is here, and Greg Latham. Last time you were on the podcast was
It was a while ago.
it was TAC, right?
Maybe.
Sitting
I
on
think
hotel
so.
room?
Maybe one
That
other
was-
time after that, but
Yeah,
This is his debut.
we've been doing some
He was
hunting.
good, too.
Yeah,
Way better than I thought he'd be.
I know.
As quiet as he is, you know.
He is, man. You know what? Greg has came back. I think not because, we'll let the cat out of the bag early. Greg killed a deer.
Oh, man.
I know. It's exciting. But he's came back with a little bit of new life. I don't know what it is.
It's a big buck under his belt.
I think that's it. He killed a deer.
He finally got
or
to
something.
prove himself.
He got to go get
Feels
some
good.
sleep. I feel like he was getting real tired at the end of
Yeah.
the end of a big swing there.
Yeah.
But how many monsters did you drink between here and home when you left?
a good bit. Probably 10.
10? Are you serious?
Since when?
I meant just the drive home
I
from
meant
here.
I thought you meant on the trip to Thanksgiving, but
No.
no, I've had 2 this morning.
This morning? Well, it's getting to afternoon now, so we're
Greg
okay.
he's big on the mocha monsters, right? Isn't that the one it is?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. They're too sweet for me.
Java.
I like those La Colombianas. Those are my favorite, I think, right
I
now.
like the Black Rifle coffee. Man, if they
Not sponsored.
want to hit us up
Yeah.
with some,
Yeah, if you are listening.
Not sponsored, but wishing to be sponsored.
Right now, I'm doing my own. Just coffee, brown sugar, and some wholemeal.
Oh, I thought you were just saying you coughing all the time.
I am.
Coffee in.
coffee
Smith.
making you cough.
Tyler actually tried some coffee here a while back.
Oh, yep.
We were in South Dakota, and for some reason, he was just, getting all giddy about something. He's like, let me try that thing.
I hadn't tried coffee in at least 15 years.
Tell me about your experience.
Duke.
No.
I mean, that's a one-word explanation for it. Dude.
No. This guy, okay, Michael's also over there nodding his head, but I saw a clip of him drinking coffee the other night, and he was liking it. So
You know why Michael left for so long? Because, okay, were you going to say something?
I'm thinking about an answer. I don't know.
Okay. Because he was wanting his nickname to fall, and for us not to call him that anymore. And we haven't called him his nickname the whole time since he's been back.
Michael?
No,
What?
Jamichael.
Jamichael. Jamie. Given by the one and the only Tony Peterson.
Yeah. J. Michael J.
J. Mike, baby.
Yeah. He. It's weird how like just a few days and all of a sudden the nickname goes away. You know.
Yeah, but that gives with death comes birth. So
yeah,
we might come up with something new.
What you got?
I don't know.
Okay, let's be thinking.
Old toes over here.
If you're Old Toes Medicine Show.
Let's just make jokes about band names all day. How's that sound?
Dude. Yeah, that's good. I definitely think there's some room there for nicknames. If you're listening, you got a nickname for Mr. Michael Stoll, please send it to our inbox on Instagram or Facebook. We will
I'm coughing,
gladly
like I said.
accept.
Sorry, guys. You're going to hear that a little bit, and we're not going to take the time to edit out every single cough. So.
Or any of them.
Yeah. Anyways, we've been doing some Texas hunting, and I thought it would be a good day to talk about that. What do y'all think?
Yep.
Hunting? Is that what you're trying to say?
I was thinking Tex hunting.
Tex hunting?
But hunting would be a good one, too. It sounds way better.
Yeah.
I thought both of them could be good.
Little flow there. The East Texas ground has been feast and famine. The hill country has been just as steady as she goes, right?
It's been pretty good.
It's the way it goes down there, I think. You did a little bit of both recently, right?
I did.
You stuck around here right before Thanksgiving, did a little East Texas hunting.
A little East Texas public hunting, and
then
it was pretty good, but
yeah.
Central Texas was a little better.
You call it Central Texas when you talk about that area, or you call it hill country?
It's hill country in Central Texas, but it's East Central.
East
Yeah.
Central, yeah.
That's it. That's it. East Central.
Yeah.
East Central Hill Country of Texas.
People drive for 42 minutes to come get this pizza here. So,
Dang, dude, he loves it when people don't have mics. Kills them.
So, they call that lake country down there too?
Never heard that.
Is that a thing? I thought there's a way.
Up here's lake country.
Chain of lakes. Isn't that called Chain of Lakes or something like that, right? Because Buchanan.
Yeah, there's a couple lakes.
Yeah.
Lake Country Archery.
Yeah. Where's that? Is it Richards?
Yeah.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a sign. We should steal that from him for sure.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. So, I think you've talked about your property a little bit down there, but
bit.
set the scene for folks. What goes on down there?
Well, my family has owned this property since the 70s. My grandpa bought it a long time ago. And I've been deer hunting it since I was probably 6, late 90s, started hunting. And it's just Texas hill country, small body deer, and quite a few of them running around.
SBDs.
Yeah, SBDs, small body bucks.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
what about zebras?
There's been known for a few zebras to run around.
Yeah.
Yeah. A healthy population.
Have you ever had a shot at a zebra?
I've never had a shot at a zebra.
Or have you been in range of a zebra?
I haven't. My parents have. They were there when the zebra showed up.
Would you take a shot if you had a zebra
Look
shot?
at that
Nice buck in your
nice
backyard.
buck in your yard.
Oh. Dude, should I get my bow out of my truck right now?
Don't.
Get those binos over there. Hold on. Everybody, pause. We'll be right back. I'm going to narrate this. There's a nice buck in Tyler's front yard.
Good camera.
I don't think so. I think he's a 3-year-old.
He's legal.
So the excitement is still on high. However, the hunting has been put on a hiatus. We do believe... Oh,
is he bedding?
No, he's going to push in there on her. We do believe that this buck is going to be one of the qualifiers for Tyler's son's first deer. So now we're super excited because he's going to come home and y'all are going to go hunting this afternoon, right?
Yep, we are.
Yeah.
I got things to do, man.
That's exciting.
It's already 2:30.
I know, man. It's wild. So, Greg, would that be a shooter on your property?
Yeah, I'd shoot that on my property.
That's cool.
There's no antler restrictions on my property.
How nice is that? So,
Pretty
like, you're
nice.
telling me if you're like,
Happy with a buck.
if you're like an adult onset hunter who's like, I I don't know, really into it nowadays, but didn't have the opportunity to go hunt when you were a kid. Like, instead of dealing with this tough 13-inch rule, you could instead just go shoot a deer that makes you happy.
Yeah, you can just go out there, and if it gets you excited, you can shoot it.
Who in this house is excited right now?
Me.
I think that qualifies as everyone. So, what's that deer? Qualifies as the width.
Yeah,
So,
he's a nice 10.
yeah. Call them nins. So, anyways, grew up hunting this place.
Yep.
Your whole life. How'd y'all grow up hunting it? Or I guess when did it come to your family?
My grandpa bought it in like 74 or something.
So your
like that.
dad kind of grew up hunting it too.
Yeah.
Your dad was probably in his 20s when it got bought?
I think he's about, 18 or 19.
Okay. Yeah.
But, grew up hunting it, and mostly gun hunted it till I probably got serious about bow hunting in 2020. And that's when I shot my first one with a bow out there.
Yeah. You did the millennial thing whenever, instead of making sourdough bread, you decided to take up archery hunting?
Yeah,
during
like
lockdown stuff?
I deer hunted my whole life, and it just kind of bugged me that I hadn't shot one with a bow out there yet. Mm-hmm. And 2020 and the music scene kind of crashed, so I was like, I'm going to grab my bow and try to shoot one.
You're so hard, I'm surprised you didn't make a self bow out of like a piece of mesquite off the property or something.
I'm getting to it.
Are you?
I feel like I might do that one day,
That
too.
would be really neat, I think. But I think it's just one of those things that all archers kind of aspire to. Guys, in case you're wondering, we're all just watching this deer out the window right now while we're doing this. So I don't mean to be distracted. We're going to try to stay on topic. But, I mean, it's deer season, and there's a deer out there, so it's real hard. So the property hasn't been bow hunted until 2020, so it probably is set up differently than what a lot of archers would set it up, right?
Yeah, every stand out there is basically a gun stand, set up.
Y'all box blinds, tripods, or what?
Got a little bit of both. We got box blinds, we got the tower box blinds, we got tripods, and I make a few ground blinds here and there for bow hunting in the last couple of years. But.
That's how you shot your first bow buck, right?
Yeah, out of a tripod.
Oh, okay. You were telling me a story about a ground blind setup that you had at one point in time where like you had just a tiny shooting window, like through cedars or something. That was your only shot.
Yeah, that was one of my first bow hunting experiences. And
that's right.
I was set up way too close and had a little tiny hole to shoot out of.
So as a guy who's done a lot of hunting, but I wouldn't say that you haven't done a lot of bow hunting, but recently you've bow hunted a lot more. What is kind of one of the things that you learned that's just different about it?
With a gun, I mean, it's basically as soon as you see them, you can kill them.
Uh-huh.
Bow hunting, you gotta bring them the little extra. You gotta get them inside bow range.
Yeah,
and getting drawn back is a lot more difficult than pulling a hammer back.
Could you have killed a deer with a gun last night?
Definitely. Multiple times.
A shooter buck on public land.
Oh, yeah.
and you don't do a lot of, or let's say it this way, you hunt with the old turdy quite a bit, right?
Yeah, I did a lot of deer hunting with a 30-30. And,
I think a lot of Texas guys have killed a lot of deer with 30-30s.
Yeah, I've killed probably 20 deer with a 30-30.
Golly.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's still fun.
It is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
No zebras, though.
Mid-range
No
deal,
zebras.
right? Like, I know some of the Midwesties do the muzzleloader or shotgun thing, and the 30-30 is kind of like, I don't know, effectively 100 and in, right? Because it's usually an open sight situation.
Yeah, that made the transition between gun hunting and bow hunting pretty easy because I killed most of my deer at like 50, 30 yards. I've killed some at like 15 yards. Mm-hmm. So
That's wild.
My dad killed a buck whenever he was 16 in Llano at 330 steps with a 30-30.
There's a creeper on the road right now.
Oh, no. That good thing he's got his head down.
Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't suggest shooting. Was that a sheriff or something?
I don't know.
Get out of here, bro. Did that? The buck laid down.
Did he?
Yeah.
I thought he just stood there in that tall stuff, but you might be right.
That's
a road.
That's a road and bridge.
County road and bridge.
Of course they ain't doing nothing. Now the doe's got her head up.
she's looking.
She's looking hard. There's another one behind.
That's exactly why I let my honeysuckle grow up right there, y'all.
Yeah.
I need to put some more wires on the fence.
There you go. That's a good idea, dude, actually. Mm-hmm. Like, just kind of make it kind of like a high fence, but just as a trellis.
Yeah. Trellis it.
Yeah. So 30-30 hunting.
Yep.
And you transitioned into the archery hunting because it bugged you?
Yeah, it just kind of bugged me. I hadn't shot one with the bow. I've been too busy with music, and I was like, I bet you I'm good enough to do that.
Yeah.
And
turns out you are.
I guess so. I've killed a couple.
How many deer have you killed with a bow now?
I think 6.
That's pretty good.
7, I don't know, 6 or 7.
That's a lot more than most people. But one of the neat things about being from down there is that you get a lot of deer tags.
Get a lot of opportunities.
Yeah. Whereas, like, if you're from where, Michael is, he's not on here right now, but you can kill, like, 1 buck a year, right? Yeah. And so it's just a different situation, pretty much. Lots of does, smaller bodied animals, so you got to have pretty good shots. You limit your shot distance more than what a lot of people do, it seems like.
Yeah, this year I'm 40 yards and in.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
But I like 25 yards and in.
Me too.
That was my favorite.
You've seen me shoot deer at a lot of different distances.
A lot of different
but
ranges.
The one at 18, the one at 18 was the most sheer deal, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that deer was dead.
He was real dead. As soon as we got past the 7-yard part of it, he was real dead after that.
Oh, yeah.
We had this thing at the Element called Greg Eyes. There was Greg Eyes on 3 different creatures at that moment. Oklahoma, KC, Greg, and the deer all had Greg Eyes at about 7 yards at one point in time.
By the way, the Greg Eyes just happened on the podcast.
Yep.
The listener doesn't even know, but when Greg saw that buck, they happened.
Yeah.
I think he is laid down, man.
Yeah, that was cool. So you started doing some archery hunting down there. Mm-hmm. Y'all run corn?
Yeah, we have some feeders running. And weird thing about feeders, I mean, everybody thinks it's like the easiest thing to kill a deer in a feeder. But, I mean, out of all my years of hunting, I've seen a mature buck under a feeder maybe like 3 or 4 times. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's like they just don't really hit it. They can find one at night that's not getting hit, and they'll feed under that. Mm-hmm. And never show up in daylight.
Yeah.
Well, they don't spend much time at them too. Once they
know
they're there, just a couple of seconds a lot of times.
Deer don't consume a lot of corn, man. Like you think about, a lot of people run their feeder timer 10 seconds. That's like 3 pounds of corn or something like that.
Oh, I don't even know about that.
Is it not even that much?
I don't think so.
Yeah, and like I bet you, like a Texas deer might eat 20 kernels whenever they stop at a corn feeder.
Yeah, I've been surprised. Like, you'll see a buck during the rut, he'll come by the corn and he'll eat like a couple bites and just take off again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, they don't stay for no time.
They really don't, man. And it makes sense anatomically because they just can't handle that much grain. They have to have a lot of browse and a lot of fresh and just as their gut makeup. If they just ate only, you ever seen a coon turd next to a feeder? And it literally looks like how it went in.
Yep.
There's just corn kernels that are crushed. That's because he can't digest that stuff very good, and that's what ends up happening to him. So, yeah. You don't hunt over the feeder then that much?
Yeah, I've found out the best way is not really hunt the feeder over the feeder. Like, you want to get off of it a little bit and find a place where a big buck would be cruising or, trying to get downwind of it.
I treat my corn kind of like a food plot.
Yeah.
It's there to kind of feed the deer and have them around more than it is a place to actually hunt.
Yep.
Yeah. That way you have deer on your property during deer season.
Yeah, exactly.
Because everybody's running corn right next door.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you can either have a smelly corn station that smells like a human, or you can have a spot that just is food.
Yeah.
I go for the food for sure.
You can also have one that smells like does. As opposed to just no does on your property.
Does opposed. Yeah. So, Greg, you went down after doing some tough but fun Texas public hunting.
Yep.
And decided to go down and try your hand at the family property. Just tell us the story, man.
Yeah, well, while I've been going on this internship, I told my dad, I was like, it'd be nice if you could fill the feeders, while I'm gone. And he didn't quite do that.
Dads are funny, man.
Yeah.
He
Hilarious.
one of the feeders was, well, they're all filled, but one was working. And so I had one working feeder, and that's the one I had to end up getting closest to do this hunt. But and I had to find out the other feeders were not working the hard way.
Like by hunting them?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's
Yeah.
fun to sit there for 4 hours and then feeder never goes off. And
Yeah.
you're like, okay, that's fun.
Party.
That's why my dad runs 2 feeders in his locations.
Yeah.
He does not want to show up and have one not working.
Yeah, that is the worst feeling.
Your dad's big on efficiency.
He is. Yep. He is.
Yeah.
But after 2 days of, not seeing anything, I decided to kind of stay by the house for I guess it was Thanksgiving morning. I was helping out with some of the food and stuff, cooking and whatever. And I spotted a nice 9 or 10 point out in front of the house and saw him run off, and he was bedded with a doe, kind of like this buck out in front of the house. And so I set up and tried to make a plan to kill him that evening. And the wind wasn't perfect, but I decided there was a willow tree that I could hop up into, and I think
I love hunting out of willows.
yeah, it was pretty cool. And I will say, like, this saddle hunting in Central Texas is like a game changer.
Really?
Like, most live oaks, like, you can get a saddle up into, and it is perfect for hunting.
You're running the Cruiser XC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are,
And, like,
I mean, the same thing we have experienced, man. The saddle hunting has really made things so much more effective and just keeps you from being tired all the time, I feel like,
It's funny you
carrying
say
stuff
that
in.
about the live oaks, too, because live oaks are kind of notorious for hard to get a stand in
Yeah.
because they get like 8 to 10 foot up and then they just start branching out. And you have all these trunks that go everywhere and none of them
Yeah.
are really straight.
but you can find a spot with a saddle, and they're perfect killing trees.
Yeah, because they have cover all year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Exactly.
evergreen.
And the deer
Yeah.
eat them.
Yep.
Evergreen is, Eric calls
That's
them.
right. They're evergreens. Absolutely.
Evergreens.
And I've had so many times where I've not hunted a spot because the wind wasn't right, because where my stand is not good for that wind. But in the saddle, I'll like, oh, that tree works now. I can give in that tree, and I can hunt just about any spot.
That's another true thing about the hill country is that you're akin to some of the East Texas stuff. It's fairly monotonous
Yep.
ground. So if you know the deer pattern movements, you can just say, oh, well, there's like 8 hangable live oak trees in this general area. One of them I can make work for the wind, right?
Yep.
Yeah, makes sense. But you didn't hang a live oak. You hung a willow,
No, I
which
hung
is
in a
not
willow.
a stereotypical hill country tree.
It
Yeah,
is
I was
not.
thinking that too.
Yeah, like there's an old it's an old pond that was dug back in the 70s with a bulldozer, and it doesn't really hold water anymore. But there's a couple of willow trees that have popped up in the bottom of it, and these 2 willow trees have been there forever, and they've served me well. I've hunted out there before with a ladder stand, but this time I got up in a saddle and got a little higher.
So, Tyler, you said you love hunting out of a willow tree. Is it because the willow tree provides such a great cover, or is it just because they're in good spots?
That's exactly the
That's it.
reason.
Yeah.
It's like if you're hunting a willow, you have decided I'm going to hunt this sketchy tree because it is in the spot. It's it's where the deer want to be.
Yeah,
You know what I
hardly
mean?
ever are you hanging in a willow because you're like, oh, this is the best stand tree for miles around.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But I decided to get in that willow because it was the best possible spot with the wind I had. Like, it was right on the edge of where the deer were going to be, but I was kind of out of the game sitting in that tree, but it was the only tree I could get into with the wind.
Dang, it's almost like you took yourself out of the game to win the game.
Dang, dude.
Dang.
Did we talk about that last week?
Podcasted about that.
Greg,
listen.
he was going.
Actually, I didn't listen.
Oh, golly, Greg.
Have no time.
It's okay,
Yeah,
man. I'm
that's
not
all
a fan of the Element podcast either.
It's all those stupid ads they have to talk about nowadays. That's why
Yeah.
nobody listens anymore.
Yep.
Those guys, sellouts. So this is a morning or evening hunt.
In the morning, I see a buck that I want to shoot.
It's good. That's the
And-
one that you saw locked down.
Saw a buck with a doe, and he left off to the west, and I was like, okay.
When you see deer out there locked down and like going to a thicket, what are they? You know, I think about the Midwest. They're locking down in like tall grass, or this one right here. He's in a bunch of tall forbs. Like, are they in a pear patch, or what are they in?
There's like a briars between like two fence rows that's really thick, and I've seen bucks do it before. And I think they went back there and bedded. And there's also a creek back there that they could slip down into. But I saw him leave with her, and so I figured the evening hunt would be a pretty good hunt.
Yeah.
But
Gun.
a little gun. Yeah. But yeah, it was Thanksgiving Day, and had 9 people in the house. And this tree that I picked is about 160 yards from the house. And luckily, it was pouring down rain, and it kept most everybody inside. And
you hunted in the pour down rain?
it was raining.
It was raining.
It was raining.
Oh man.
So
Was it cold?
not really. It's like
That's good.
maybe 60 degrees.
Yeah.
But got it there about like 3 o'clock, I guess, and saw a deer pretty quick. Little spike came out to the feeder, and I've got a feeder about 150 yards from me. But this little spike comes out, and then this little forky comes running by me about 20 yards, goes up to the feeder, and then they started chasing, running around back behind me.
Chasing does?
I don't know. They started sparring for a little bit, and then they went behind me where I couldn't see them, and I think they might have been chasing. I saw a deer running around back there. And then I saw a buck working a scrape behind me about 200 yards, and just seemed like a ruddy kind of night. And I was feeling good.
What?
But
Feeling good, man.
Feeling good again.
a few minutes later, a good buck pops out near the feeder. I put the binos on him. I'm like, okay, that's a good buck. So I start throwing grunt calls out. I grunt a couple times. He kind of acts like he hears it. I grunt like 2 more times, and he hears it, and he takes a few bites of corn, and then he's coming to check me out. He comes on a line just 150 yards, walks to about 50 yards, and then kind of starts angling out. He's kind of getting weird because he can't see. He's looking for the deer that he heard, and he just can't see it.
Yeah.
And so he gets out there about 50 yards, and starts to walk away. And I give him a snort wheeze, and he freaks out, runs about 5 yards, and turns around, and just kind of stares off my direction for a while, and stands there for like a minute or two, and then eventually he starts making a scrape right there. He starts pawing the ground and wetting his tarsal glands and just starting to act aggressive.
Was there like a tree he was whipping on there too, or was it in the open?
It was in the open.
Really?
He made the scrape just on the bare.
You just fired
bare
him
ground.
up.
I just fired him up.
Did you use you have one of those grunt calls that has the snort wheezing on it?
Yeah, but I didn't use that. I just
You used the mouth?
Yeah, I just used my
Did
mouth.
you give him the double note or a single?
Double. Yeah.
Like that, but loud?
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
And it fired him up. It flipped the switch on him, and he was only like a 3 or 4 year old.
Oh, so this isn't the deer you shot.
Nope. This buck starts making a scrape, and then turns around and goes to this like little tiny like shrub bush I didn't even know was there, and he starts rubbing his antlers on it. So he's pretty fired up, and then he walked away a little bit further. I ended up giving him another snort wheeze, and it kind of piques his interest again. He turns around, and this time he's coming closer, and so he starts angling towards me, and I told myself I wasn't going to shoot. I wasn't going to shoot over 40 yards.
But you have the intention of shooting this buck if he gives you an
Oh
opportunity.
yeah, I'm definitely trying to shoot this buck. Like I called him in from 150 yards. This is cool. Like this would make a cool video.
You have footage of this stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, let's go.
So
And it's going to go out on the Element channel?
I think so.
Hot dog, dude.
Oh yeah, I didn't know the Element Channel actually put videos
I
out
know,
anymore.
dude, losers, man.
But yeah, he starts angling towards me, and I get him in the frame, and he walks to this in front of this bush. I know it's at 42. I'm like, okay, I'm shooting at this thing.
You probably have a pin for that, don't you?
I got a 40 pin.
Do you?
Yeah.
Greg's kind of funny. He'll have like a 20, 30, and then 38 or something like that.
No, I fixed it. I
You
got
got
20,
20
30, and 40 right
Sorry.
now.
Sorry for the peer pressure, dude. I don't want you to change things that work for you, okay?
No, I got it. Yeah, I have a 40 pin, and he walked in front of a bush that was at 42. And I was like, all right, I'm going to shoot this thing. And walks to 40. I grunt stop him. And I'm like, this deer's either going to just stand there and let the arrow hit him, or this deer is not going to be there when that arrow gets there. And it was the second of the two.
Oh, you shot that deer?
I shoot at this deer, and he is not even there when the arrow gets there. Like
Oh, my gosh.
it's not a bad shot, but he's just not there.
Yeah.
Just a Texas jackrabbit.
That's what happens when they're 110 pounds, right?
Yeah.
They just move.
So I shoot at him like, okay, this is cool. This will be a video, like if it, whatever. Shoot at him. He runs like 20 yards up the hill, up the bank of the old pond, and stops, and he blows at me like 3 or 4 times. And at this point, I'm grabbing another arrow. I'm like, okay. I was grabbing another arrow. I get another arrow knocked. And then I'm watching him, and out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, oh, crap. Giant buck. And I see a big buck, all bristled up. He's got his ears pinned back, and he's like slow walking from our right coming down the hill. And he starts posturing up to the buck I just shot at. And he kind of circles in front of me at about 45 yards and pushes the other buck off behind this willow tree. And when the big buck goes behind the willow tree, I grab my grunt call and I throw a grunt call behind me. And just to make him think there's another deer over there. And he pushes that buck off, and then I give him, once he pushed that buck off, I gave him a snort wheeze. And he kind of perks up. He starts walking my way, smells the scrape where the buck I shot at made the scrape. And then this deer comes running, just starts trotting straight to me. And I'm like, oh, crap. I'm getting the camera ready. And I get a little clip of him, like, running in. And then he is in my lap before I know it. And I draw back, and he's about 15 yards, and I grunt stop him, and he's quartering 2 just slightly, but I shot and just ripped him.
Ripped him, huh?
Dang, dude.
Dadgummit, man.
Dude, the sound it made, just I knew it was perfect.
Quarter 2, where did you put the arrow? Behind the shoulder or in front of?
Behind the shoulder.
Yeah.
But
Did you put it up in the pocket?
yeah, it's like because I'm above him. I mean, it's high, but right behind the shoulder. Mm-hmm. And just it came out kind of back, but
Yeah.
like
kind of broadhead.
That was a Montec 125.
Let's go.
03 blade.
Dude, I
man.
want to shoot him on take so bad.
I was wondering why you came back and said you needed more broadheads. It's because you used more than one.
Yeah, I shot my 2 sharp ones.
Yeah.
But dude, the sound it made when it hit him, I knew it was perfect. And when I went to go check the arrow was just stuck in the ground about a foot and just covered in blood.
So
It was perfect.
it was
Yeah.
perfect. Tell me, what that sounds like if you had never shot a deer. What else does it sound like?
Sounds like baseball going through a cardboard box.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a good idea.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Dude,
I was listening to the sound of, you might have shot a Nebraska buck on this video I'm working on.
Maybe.
And the sound like echoes through the hills, dude.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's like it's a pop, you know.
I feel like it's, the sound would be if you put say you put a 1x4 beside a watermelon and then hit them both with a hammer.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I always think it kind of sounds like.
Yeah, you just hear the chest cavity pop,
Yeah.
and that's the sound you want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. If you hear that, that's a good thing.
Yep.
Yeah. And you watch it fall?
I did not watch him fall, but the shot was good, sound was good, and I heard him kind of coughing as he ran off, and I knew it was good, and so I waited like 15 minutes and quietly got out of the tree. I just left all my stuff, went back to the house, and then it started pouring down rain right then, so it made the blood trail a little difficult, but I went
It's still
out.
pretty early in the evening when this all happened?
No, I mean, it's getting the last 10 minutes of daylight when I shot him. The other one I shot for 20 minutes of daylight, but yeah, the rain starts coming down, so it makes the blood trail a little difficult, but I didn't follow blood for long. He ran about 55 yards.
Man.
I'm at Greg. Let me ask you a question. If a Greg shoots a deer
In the woods. Does it make a sound?
and there's no one there to celebrate with, does he still left-armed fist bump?
Oh yeah, that's the only arm I got free. Yeah, I gave about 2 or 3 left-handed fist bumps.
There you go.
And
That's cool.
it was pretty fun.
That's a toad, dude.
Yeah.
It's a cool buck, man.
Biggest buck you've shot down there. Or I guess,
I think
period.
I think it's the biggest buck I've shot with a bow or gun.
Really? It's awesome.
But it's definitely not the biggest body deer I've ever shot.
Yeah. What's up with that?
I don't know. There's body size just varies. Like I've shot 5.5-year-old bucks that barely weigh 100 pounds, and then I've shot like 3-year-olds that weigh like 150 pounds.
Dude, this is something that people don't talk about, I feel like. But, so like you'll see a deer, Casey and I've talked about this, where you see these deer in like Iowa that come, a lot of them are obviously shot by quote unquote hunting celebrities. And it's like a basic 8-point, and they put like a 184 score on it. Now, giving these people the benefit of the doubt as being people who don't fib, it's like, man, I can't believe that deer. It's basically just an 8 with a little bit of trash, like 9 inches of trash, and that thing's a 184. And what I think people don't talk about very much and doesn't get much light, but I see this a lot, especially in like, really like from here north through probably like up into Nebraska is, and I think this happens across the country, but I really see it especially in like North Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, is this difference in body size that you have, like, especially in those like Mason-Dixon line states. I bet there's like a southern to northern deer thing where like some deer just have a southern gene. They're a little bit smaller than other ones. But I also think that, like humans in a way, some deer are 5'4" fully grown males, and some deer are 6'10" fully grown males. And when a 6'10", is 6 years old and gets shot, like it's an 8-point that's 184 because it doesn't look like that much bigger, but you don't understand how big the head is on that deer and how big the neck is and all these other things that relate to the size of the rack, right? So
it's like hog body, right?
Yeah.
We talked about him on the podcast before, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you saw him at 10 years old, most likely?
I mean, he's super old. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the deer, we had seen him for a couple of years on trail camera, and he was literally built like a 55-gallon drum. We were like, golly, we called him hog body because he was just built like a hog. I mean, just huge chest, thick all the way through to the back. And we were thinking, does that deer weigh 300 pounds? I saw him in person, and he was shorter than the does that were around him.
He was just like literally a midget.
He was a midget deer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's old and fat, but like, and proportionally, like everything was fine, but like he was like about near a midget deer. I mean, he was like, he bowed down to every buck that came through, which of course, you know, there's some prime deer in that time. And he's more like he did have, like his rack never was big as long as I knew him. I mean, he was a smaller rack deer, kind of thin a little bit, but like an 8-point, you know, a decent 8-point. But yeah, like crazy, man. The deer was for sure like a small dude, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that happens, and that's where, like, you know, sometimes you know, like you see it in South Texas a lot. We're like, oh, does that deer really go 179? You know, and it's like, you know, well, that deer's been on protein its whole life, and its mom was too, and really, that deer is bigger than most of the South Texas deer you see body wise.
What else I think is kind of interesting on this same topic somewhat is that the discrepancy, like you take yours and my Kansas bucks this year, they were different body type deer. Yours was a big fat slob and mine was a little more rangy, but both were old bucks. But the discrepancy there is like mine was, I'm just putting guesses, like 210, something like that. Yours was like the 230, 240 type, you know? So you're looking at 20, 30 pounds difference, and that's an average discrepancy, you know? Well, you have that same kind of thing going on in the hill country, but you're looking at 100 to 130.
Yeah, the percentage of total body weight is higher.
Yes, exactly. So like a 210, I mean, we've all known people this size. A dude that weighs 210 and a dude that weighs 240 can usually have a pretty fair fight. A dude that weighs 100 and a dude that weighs 130 or 140 usually is not a very good fight.
Yeah, it'd be like Michael versus like a normal size human.
Yeah, exactly. Like, can you imagine? The point I'm making is that Greg's big buck he just shot was a smaller body deer and apparently really aggressive. Probably had to be.
Yeah, this deer had no hair on both sides of his head. It was completely worn off, I'm guessing, from fighting.
I was thinking he had a haircut, like a fade.
He had like buzz cut fade going on.
That's wild.
That is wild, dude.
Yeah. No broken tines.
No broken tines, but this is the heaviest masked deer I've shot in the hill country.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's
he also
cool
has kind of red antlers.
Yeah.
Is that from the cedars, you think?
Possibly. I know they rub mesquites a lot.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there's a kind of red core on a mesquite. I don't know if that's like a thing or not, though. Does what they rub affect their antler color, actually?
It does with elk.
Does it?
Yeah, I don't know about whitetail. I'm sure there's probably a lot of different factors, right? But I know that all the local guys on the last bull I shot, they're like, oh, you like the pines? Because he had dark antlers. Apparently he rubbed the spruce a lot up there.
Which are not pines.
Well, depends.
the thing is just trees with like a lot of sap and things stick to their antlers, kind of darkens them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Might be the stuff that sticks to it. I didn't think about that. But yeah. It's a cool buck, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I'm
Congrats,
excited.
man.
I'm ready to watch the footage.
Yeah,
me too.
I haven't asked you questions about it or anything because
we've been waiting to talk about it.
I know. And then we had our own rut festivities yesterday, so we didn't get to talk about it. If you're hunting Texas right now, specifically East Texas, it's a good time of year to be in the woods. We have a buck on lockdown, which I haven't checked on lately.
I checked on him about a minute ago. I hadn't seen him.
In Tyler's yard. A year ago today, actually, I had a giant 6-point on lockdown at my house. And then yesterday, we had some crazy rut action on some Texas public.
And 2 years ago today, I shot the ranch buck.
Yeah. Good day to be in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what was going on November 20. This is 2019. I'm going to look at my phone right now just to see.
Is it the 30th today?
Yeah.
It is the 30th.
So, 19.
I shot One-Eyed Jack on December 2nd, if you're listening on that day. And he was following a doe.
How about that?
Out of bed, dude. Following her.
Yeah, dude. Like, people just check out too much once the first 2 weeks in November.
Quit being lazy, y'all. Come
That's
on.
right. Dadgummit. Dadgummit. Looks like I didn't do a lot of hunting on November 30th in 2019. I did on days before and after that. But anyways, it is a good time of year to be in the woods. I think that
in 18, I think we called those bucks in on the 29th or 30th. Remember the $2 we
Texas?
grunted in? No, in Kansas.
Oh.
We grunted them in the fog. Remember we had the half rack that came like 5 yards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spooky deer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good time of year. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're in Texas or where you're at. Like, honestly, no joke. If you had to say what's one of the best hunting dates across the country, extremely late November would probably be one of the best.
I love it.
Because you could go to any of these southern rut states and still have some pretty good pre-rut activity.
Yeah.
You could go up there where our buddy Alex Comstock hunts in Minnesota and have good hunts. Like,
sure.
Across the country right now, it's really pretty good. It might not be the best it ever is, but if you just had to say, across the country, what's good? This is probably pretty close, man.
Hey, tell me what happened yesterday.
Yesterday, besides the Coffee Anderson concert.
Concierto.
Now let me do this first.
Okay.
Make sure Tyler and the Tribe gets plenty of airtime here as well.
Dude.
I don't want people looking up Coffee Anderson because I keep making the joke without saying the superior artist is Tyler and the Tribe.
Thank you.
And King Country. Okay, I mean we got to throw it all.
King
out.
and Country?
No, not that one.
King
they're
Country.
pretty good too.
No.
King Country Hunts.
But
I'm related to them.
yeah,
Grace is married into that family.
I know, dude.
Yep.
What are we doing?
being poor still.
But
Just wait, Michael.
Tyler and the Tribe, King Country, those are the two bands represented right here.
That's it.
King Country attacks.
King Country does attack. But that's not the band name. It's just King
No,
Country.
that's just the Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
King Country Hunts is the real Instagram.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Greg's a pretty good follow. He posts funny things on his story from time to time.
Would you follow Eric if you were just random?
Yeah, for sure, because Eric is a loyal Element person, dude. He reposts stuff and shows cool things and makes fun of Brian a lot.
I just didn't know if you could handle all the Cardinal stuff.
They didn't make it very far in the playoffs
Triple
this year,
A, bro.
so that's it. You didn't have to watch too much
Triple
of it.
A.
What was he even trying to lead to? Oh, what happened
Sorry.
yesterday? Yesterday went hunting some Texas pub. And as you might have heard, or we alluded to, Greg's left-handedness. So an interesting thing that happens with lefties when they're in the tree with you as camera guys is they can bring their bow too and also do some hunting at the other side of the tree. JIC, something comes by on that side. So we kind of do this thing where we're both hunting, but Greg's primarily filming me. And we're hot, man, because we haven't been on Texas Public in a minute. And I'm actually texting Tyler, like, man, it kind of feels good to be out here. I hadn't been out here in a while. And I kind of miss it. Well, about 20 minutes later, like, man, I don't know if I'm going to see a deer today.
Yep.
So, it's weird how fast your optimism can fade whenever you go through what is perceived as the best portion of the morning and not see a deer. I was like, oh, man, did I mess it up? Did we get in here and take the wrong access path or whatever? Well, ends up it's just, deer somewhere else for a little bit. But I think at like 8:20, we have a rut fest run by. And we're like, and this is an East Texas thing. It's like, oh, I see a deer. It's running.
So you're saying about the time Brian got out of the stand?
Yeah. Probably so, really. I mean, that's probably not even a joke.
It's probably for real. Sorry, Brian.
This is such an East Texas thing that happens, right? Where it's like, I see a deer. Why is it running? It's running. It's running towards us. And then, like, you grab your bow, and then they just run by, and you're like, what just happened? And it was a doe and, like, a 2-year-old. And he was as hot on a deer as they get. Just running, right? Full sprint. Not tails up, though. Like, it was chase fest. And so we're hype. I text Tyler that the Rut Fest happened. That way he would have some confidence. What happened when I texted you that the Rut Fest happened?
I just got hype.
Got hype.
Yeah.
It kept you in the stand a little longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gave me some confidence
That's
because
right,
I hadn't seen a deer in like 20 minutes.
Sometimes you've been at Texas Public, hadn't seen a deer in 20 days.
Yep. We had a buck come by before that, I think.
Yeah, you did.
Literally, as you and I are texting about how the optimism fades so quickly when you're sitting on Texas Public. And then next thing you know, at 20 yards, me and Michael are like, holy smokes, there's a buck.
There's shortly after that, 3 does come running from the opposite direction and run right by us, splashing through water, going crazy. We're like, oh gosh, they're running from something. I grab my bow. and then like I kind of hold on to it for a little bit, thinking that there might be a buck behind him, and he never shows. I'm like, dadgummit, man. Well, I hang my bow back up. Also, I've left my good bow hanger somewhere. I can't find it, so I'm using just a regular carabiner. I'm having to do the 2-hand thing where you like got to clip it, you know, which is not fun. So Greg and I are kind of like hyping after that, like, oh man, this is cool. Like, there's deer running around. We're in a pretty good spot. And then, like, I'm looking the wrong direction, and I hear, and oh my gosh, you know, like freaking out. Like, where's that coming from? And this all happens so fast. I'll look over to my left, and I can see a deer. And I go to grab my bow, and Greg says, it's the doe, be careful. And as I'm getting my bow, I look, and she's at like 5 yards, running full speed. Sees me, freaks out, and makes a hard 90. And shadowing her at 25 yards is the biggest buck I've probably ever seen on Texas Public.
Bigger than Scar?
Yeah. Like, I don't know about score-wise, but overall just impressiveness, yes. Much bigger body. Like, this deer was a bigger-bodied deer. I don't know, you know, weights are hard when it's on the fly especially, but, like, he was a bigger-bodied deer for
He was
our
a
area
5
of
or
Texas.
6 year old buck.
Yeah, he was big. Huge. And I immediately start giving him the loudest of macks that you can ever give. Because, I mean, pretty much yelling. Outside of saying, hey, I'm yelling at this deer, trying to get him to stop. Even before he's almost like in range.
Yep.
Because I can see how fast he's going. And he never checks up. I do like 3 or 4 times. And he just chases this doe into oblivion. And they didn't run out of our lives. And from then on, we just kind of like rattle and throw random grunts out, hoping that maybe he lost her and will come searching again. And doing that, we called in a spike to 2 yards that I could have spit on. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
He was real close.
Greg didn't want to shoot the spike.
He didn't.
No, I was passing him.
If you hadn't shot your deer in the hill country, would you shot that spike?
Probably. After this trip, if I hadn't killed him, I'd probably shoot him.
I don't blame you. It's fun to shoot, man.
That's fun to
I want to
kill
shoot
deer.
I really did.
I'm telling
He's
you.
at 2 yards. You want to shoot it if it's at 2 yards. I don't care if it's a fawn. You know,
I know,
I'm
dude.
ready to shoot.
It's like, I can hit that.
That's right. I look down the air.
I can kill that thing right there.
Yeah, for sure. But I actually, I've been pretty sick, as you can't tell. Or you can tell.
Either one.
Either way. But then I was texting with my wife all morning. She was getting real sick at home and needed me to come home. So then I actually split, and we went and found y'all, and I left Greg with y'all so y'all could do some hunting from there on.
Yep, we did.
And how'd that go?
Man, for us, it was pretty slow. For Greg, it was a little bit better. I mean, to be honest, we saw the Rut Fest still happening. We decided that this is just like, Tony Peterson just wrote an article where he interviewed me, and it's on the Meat Eater website, and it's, what do you do in the rut? How much time do you give a spot? Blah, blah, blah. Well, I was like, man, I said in the article, if there's a hot doe in the area during the rut, like, you need to be there right then. And so, knowing what y'all saw, we decided, Greg was gracious enough to let us come back in there and hunt with him. And we were hunting like probably 140, 50 yards away from each other or so, straight line. And we did see the Rut Fest twice, but it was so far in the just East Texas woods, 100 yards or so, that it was like flashes, just little flashes going through the woods, literally at 40 miles an hour. They went through one time, and then maybe like 30, 40 minutes later went through another time in a different area. We saw them going back towards Greg. I think Greg had a much closer encounter than we did, but we did have one spike that outwitted Michael. What did they? What do we call it? Gave him the slip.
Yeah, gave him the
gave
slip.
him the slip. He's it was spike versus spike, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
One of the spikes has to win. So, but no, the I don't know if he actually was a spike. He was a fork on one side, so that if he didn't have a spike on the other, he definitely wasn't legal. And we were going to try to make sure. And he was behind us, kind of. It just didn't really set up well. I think Michael got some cool footage of him going across the water. Hadn't seen it, but I think it's pretty cool. So we'll probably put a video out from this day, but Greg's hunt went a lot better, I think.
Yeah, like as soon as I got to the tree, I get up in the tree, I start putting my release on and, knock an arrow and start doing a interview, talking to the camera. And immediately I see a giant buck, like 50 yards from me.
During the interview.
While I'm doing the interview, I'm like, and there's a giant buck. And it wasn't the giant from the morning, but it was a legal Texas buck, and that's a giant to me.
Yeah.
On Texas public.
Yeah.
So
they are few and far between, man.
So I see him. He's walking the opposite direction of what I want him to go, and he's walking away. So I frantically go to my backpack and grab a grunt call out of the pack and give him a few grunts. And then I see that there's another buck with him that he's kind of posturing up to. And so then I throw out a snort wheeze, and the doe comes more my way, but on the other side of the ditch where I can't shoot. And the doe runs by about 45 yards, and the big buck comes running right behind her about 40 yards. And I have no shots to that side of the ditch. They ran off, and then a little bit later, like I say 5:30, they start coming back.
This was after we had seen them for the last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can hear them getting closer. I'm having trouble with the camera. The camera won't come on, and so I'm trying to fix that. And while I'm looking at deer at 30 yards.
Oh, man.
And
that'll make you want to cry.
Yeah. She gets kind of behind me and then starts walking up, and she gets to about 18 yards and just looks straight up the tree. Because I think it's the doe from this morning.
Knew.
And she knew that tree was weird. And as soon as she turned the corner, she looked straight up the tree. I wasn't moving at all. And she kind of freaks out. And then I see a 2-year-old buck behind her. And then there's another deer off in the woods. I can't tell what it is, but they give me the slip.
Dang. Dang. Oh, man.
That's a fun day on Texas Public.
Yeah. That was
it was a great day, man.
Way better than what we did.
We will be
morning.
putting a video out from that day. I don't know exactly when. We got some other stuff in the pipeline right now that's coming out. I know it's been kind of slow on the channel lately, so we apologize for that. We've been super busy attempting to make the world's best deer hunting content, best deer hunting videos. That's what we've been trying to do. And
speaking of, we aren't trying to neglect the Element channel too much, but we literally have been traveling so much in the last month that we just haven't really had the opportunity to do much uploading. So if you're like, hey guys, where's the stuff? It's coming. We actually do have a decent amount of stuff to put out here. So we should be having some stuff from Texas Public. Greg's Hunt's going to come out. Maybe some stuff from some of the other states we've been going to. As y'all probably heard, Eric and I went and froze our booties off in Colorado. So got some pretty fun stuff from that as well. So, lots of cool stuff going on. Lots of cool things coming down the pipe. It might be Christmas present season for some of y'all. You ever thought about that? Buying people some gifts might be kind of cool. Giving gifts might be kind of cool. There are some things that you could give that would probably support us as well. You could always give one of your hunting buddies, your dad, your brother, somebody, an OnX membership. That would definitely be one of the most valuable hunting tools that you could give out. I think code ELEMENT gets you 20% off, something like that. Try a few. If you can't get to work, send us a message. And you're looking at an $80 gift that will probably kill somebody a couple deer, which is kind of a wild thing to think of on that front. So might be something to think about. Also, just keep in mind that this time of year is a good time of year to make sure you're spending time with your family as well as getting out in the woods, because both are pretty important. And you know what? It's always a pretty good bargaining factor, honestly, with like if you're a married guy or your parents want you around, whatever it might be. Like, hey, let me focus on hunting for a few days here, get a deer killed. That way I can just hang out and be free over the holidays. Greg figured out how to balance that some way or another.
Yeah, somewhere or another.
Right?
You got to learn how to balance it.
That's right. You told everybody to stay in the house while you shot a deer.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much.
That's how, that's how it went. Did everybody know you were outside hunting?
Yeah, I tried to let them know.
They were just like, okay, Greg, do your thing.
I was like, all right, guys, I'm hunting out here.
Yeah.
So.
How's the rest of your family take it whenever you want to go hunt instead of hang out?
They understand it. It's kind of the thing I do during Thanksgiving. I go hunting and they play games inside, and that's just how it goes.
That's the way it happens, huh?
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
It's the way it is.
Well, we got a few more weeks before there's any more difficult holidays to encounter. Going to be doing some Christmasing, but before that, we got a couple other hunts that are coming up. Pretty excited about. It's a good time of year to do a little camera maintenance. Shuffle your cameras around because food sources are about to be a big thing. We've got some of our Moultrie cell cams set over some of the food sources that we've got out, whether that's corn or places where the late acorns are dropping. Or actually, y'all just put one out over some persimmons that you found. They were late holding persimmons on some Texas public. Yep. So maybe opportunity there to capitalize on some food sources. I do know, too, that in that area, in a lot of this southern stuff, the water oaks and willow oaks tend to drop a little bit later, and also those acorns are pretty high tannin, so they'll last even through these frosts and stuff. So might be a thought there on a place to, if you're looking for a public spot that's a late season food source and you can't find any agriculture, might be something to kind of check out. Guys, thank y'all for sticking around through my cough. How terrible this is. I know it might not sound very entertaining, but I hope that Greg's story is pretty inspiring to you. That's daggum cool. We need to post a picture of that deer on our page now that the cat's out of the bag, or the deer's out of the bag, whatever you want to call it, and so people can see how cool of a buck this is. But dude, congrats on that deer.
Thank you.
I hope that's a great memory for you for a long time, and I hope that everyone listening remembers this is your element.
Living it.
Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Art Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24th, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.